guys, welcome to Drunk, a Song of Ice and Fire History. Drunk ASOIAF, Whatcha Thinkin Bout. I'm Chloe, your host, and I am so excited to be here tonight with one of my very good friends, Ft.Haley Bowery from the Manimals.
Hi! I'm so excited to be here!
I know, it's cute because we're like long distance drinking right
Yes, it's the best.
I'm so excited. Ice and Fire Con is coming so soon in the next, oh my god, what?
It's 3
15
weeks.
days? Yeah, or more than that. Yeah, 3 weeks.
21
Yeah.
Right, it's Thursday, and we're going to get there Thursday night for our panel together, which we will talk about, but Thursday night is 3 weeks away at the con.
Dude, 21.
Can you believe
21
it?
days. I have nothing done.
Me neither. I had no work this week, and I was like, I'm gonna order all my stuff that I need to like make costumes and stuff, and then I was just like, oh, never mind.
Don't think I didn't see that Easter egg red wig sitting behind you either.
I do have a red wig. It's
Skyping.
there. It's ready. Like,
it's there.
And you know what? I was just like, why don't I just wear a red wig the whole time? Like, there's plenty of people. It wasn't like super expensive, but it is a lace front, and I've never bought a wig, like a nice, decent wig before. Like, I've only bought Party City wigs. I'm just gonna wear it the whole time. There are plenty of characters who are kissed by fire.
I have like a red lace front for a Sansa costume also, and I haven't even. It's from the last use was at Dragon Con, YomaCon, right after Dragon Con in November.
Oh, shit,
I had to think about it. But it's seen its day, and it's like, I'm kind of like, do I salvage it? Anyway, it's bad. Cosplay's hard, man.
Here's my thinking. So, like, I bought this for a specific purpose, and it's for a character in which that hair might get cut live.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a surprise. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a surprise or not.
Okay.
But I am like, okay, am I going to be cool with cutting this wig now that I own a lace front? I might not be cool with it in the end. We'll see.
I think it'll go well. I'm excited to see the result. And hey, you know what? It's just money being cut in half.
Right, exactly. It's cool. But I was like, oh, before that happens, I can be Sansa, I could be Melisandre, I could be...
You could be Catelyn, you could be Lysa.
I could be Catelyn, Lysa, yeah.
God, Danielle Lothston, Ygritte. You could be so many...
Well, I decided, I'm thinking, like, so once it gets all... After the wig gets fucked up, should I be Ygritte with, like, fucked up hair?
Yeah, like Jon Snow, like, just banging
right,
out
and I'm like
there?
a wildling, and I don't brush this, you know?
It reminds me of, you watched the Game of Thrones Coldplay musical thing, right?
Yes.
When it came out? You know
yes,
yeah.
Of course I do.
Yes, okay, good, duh. It reminds me of when Kit Harington and Rose Leslie do their little wild
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Right.
You make I'm gonna say that when I look at you with that fucked up wig, I'm just like wild thing. I'm gonna like finger guns.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, it would be very fun to do like party Ygritte in like raver furs, or
I'm excited. The Saturday night at Ice and Fire Con, we always do the party outfits, and I'm really hyped for this year's. I won't tell you, but I will hint at you that it involves an axe. So
okay. I'm so excited about it. Everything's fun.
It's actually, and just hyping it, it's a couples cosplay.
I have one couples cosplay. But it's very dumb.
We'll get into Ice and Fire Con later. Haley is on a podcast. She does during when show is in season mostly.
Yeah, we usually do like a few weeks before, like a lead-in, and then the actual show times.
She's on Game of Thrones, Drinking Got BK. And she is kind of a fellow drunk Game of Thrones podcast, so that's really fun to have a sister in crime.
Yeah, I mean, like, ours is definitely, show-related, because, we work with the season. But it's very drunk, so we have that in common.
There is a common ground if there's wine involved.
Oh, yeah. And it's not always wine, but, like, if we ever do, like, if it like we like to do like a fancy like a special cocktail that has to do with what we think the episode will be about based on the title.
That's really good. Like, okay, so for example, I knew this one girl who ran a drinking podcast about Game of Thrones, and the very first episode of season 7, she didn't record an episode because she drank too much whiskey and fell asleep on her couch, and it was like 3 a.m. and all the lights were on, the TV was still on, and she looked around and she had like 10 missed Skype calls from her podcast mates, and she was like, oh no, I missed Dragonstone. So
oh my God, that's hilarious.
yeah, she's a mess, man. I think she's like, I don't know what happened to that girl, but
yo, drunk podcasts, you gotta have the right mindset for it because it's dangerous.
Me stares directly into the camera and points down at the Drunk After Thrones playlist on my YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, that's the thing is like we do like what ends up happening is we're like we drink when we get there. We make the drink. We're all hanging out drinking, and then the show airs. And before it starts, we've already thought of a drinking game. You know, and so then we're doing a drinking game during the show for an hour plus, and then we start the podcast and we're already a mess. Like there have been weeks where like I'm all right and I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm going to say anything truly embarrassing or dumb this week, but there are other times where I'm like, I'm really glad that I'm the person who edits this.
You know, I feel that same way. So we kind of did during on season we were doing, which this is as good as time as any, I guess, to actually kind of say we are bringing Drunk After Thrones back. We are redoing from the very start. We are starting in the next few weeks, and we are going to do every single episode because we have the time, you know, until season 8.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
So we're starting at the beginning, and we are going to do a Drunk After Thrones. Hopefully it'll be like a weekly thing just to leave my liver be. But we kind of drink through the episode. So we pour the drink, we start the episode, and we start drinking during the episode. And, you know, you down 1 to 3 drinks, and then by the end, you're pretty tipsy. You get on Skype because generally Kevin and Elena joined me for that. They were there for the first Drunk After Thrones season during season 7. But now I know we have so much more to cover. They can't always be there. So I'm kind of just doing it at whim. Anyone who wants on, we're going. We're watching every episode together. And we kind of just touch on plot points after the show. But unfortunately, you know, it gets pretty wasted, pretty drunk. After the show, you're sitting there like, what the hell did I just watch? And you just down the rest of your 2 bottles of wine. And like a normal person. I mean, it's a lot. So we are starting that over now from episode 1, season 1.
Yeah, when are you starting?
Soon, like in the next 2 weeks. I will definitely get in touch with you because I would love to have you on during season 1.
I would love to do it. I would love to do an older episode. We do one called Pre-Game of Thrones that we lead up to whatever season is happening.
I did see that.
So that's been kind of fun. Like, and sometimes it really falls apart. Like, I feel like I had one that was like, it was supposed to be our season 5 Pre-Game of Thrones. And, no one could do it except for one friend. And so we got together and we were like, no one likes season 5. And like, we got really drunk and we went through the entire season just fast forwarding to all the sex scenes. Ooh. And then that was our entire conversation on that podcast was just us talking about the sex scenes just to make it something different.
I love the way you think.
That's the kind of dumbness you come up with when you're very drunk.
Absolutely. Seriously, season 7, I feel like season 7 was just a lot of me complaining about how Euron didn't have blue lips.
Or an eye patch or anything.
How I wanted him to cut my tongue out. It was just me screaming into the microphone, just like, cut my tongue out, I deserve it. And Elena and Kevin were like, what is happening in this podcast?
Yeah. What a disappointment.
I'm like, this is what you chose. Like, you guys know me in real life, and you heard me you know how I am drunk, so now let's, like, join, like, you know better. Oh, yeah. You just know. I'm excited that, like, we have drinking podcasts unite. I feel like that's the strongest. But that's not all you do. You are, like, this crazy rock and roll, like, front woman icon. You are from the Manimals, which you guys have not only a concept album about Game of Thrones called 7, You guys are this beautiful nerd party rock, glam punk, power pop team from New York. And I had the pleasure of meeting you guys at Ice and FireCon last year, which was awesome because it began this beautiful relationship between us. Little tear just went down my don't look at it. It was really cool meeting all of you guys last year, and I didn't know you guys until you were announced for the con. Just it hadn't gotten to me yet, and you eventually got into my ears because of that. And before the con, I spent like hours just poring over your music, like I must know all of these before the convention.
Girl, you break my heart. I love it.
I know, like, you're okay, guys. Haley is gonna be really modest right now, and I'll like blush. I'm like, stop, but I'm literally just gonna talk about her for an hour. And she's like an exceptional woman to talk about. No, seriously, like the first time I listened through 7, I had different favorites. It's kind of like when you read Game of Thrones for the first time, you get through A Song of Ice and Fire, and you're like, this is my favorite point of view. This is my favorite character. But then you like read it 12 times or so, and
yeah, right.
you completely, normal stuff. No, you could just like, I completely changed my mind now on everything I loved. Like the very first time I listened to 7, there was this song on there, and every single song, this is a concept album, and every single song is amazing. They're all about characters and their arcs and kind of like basically just like squeezing the essence of their character into like this beautiful emotional angst of wonderfulness. Like just like guitars clashing in your ears and Haley's voice just like cradling you as you cry and you're really mad, but you're I don't know. It's really good. It's a lot of emotion. But my favorite song the first time was Half.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like the first time. I'm not a Jaime Cersei shipper or anything.
Yeah, that's a Cersei song. Yeah,
it is a Cersei song, and it has like this part. Like when I saw you guys do it live, there was this part where you and who's
Janie plays guitar.
Jane, yeah, I was gonna say Jane.
Jane, he dresses as his character's name for the 7 stuff is Jaime Glamister, and so he wears like his little like cut off motorcycle red jacket that says like
the
"Hear
golden
me roar."
hand.
He says "Hear me roar" on the back, and it has like he has a fingerless golden glove. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's so good. During that song, like there's this like chorus, and it's so like. The lyrics like whine at you, like it's like the most. I need you more than ever now, and no one will ever love you how I do. Does distance make us longer? I will drink their youth. When you read Feast and you hear Cersei, her letter to Jaime in Feast Dance, I need you, come at once. It captures the essence of that passage, of her desperation and like Jaime's fuck you. And her just when she's like at the very bottom of her bottom and in the cell even, and she just like writes that desperate letter begging Jaime to come back. And it just tells this story of their relationship from their childhood to now, and her trapped in that cell just like whining. He comes up on you and like air humps you, like grinds. You guys are just like this beautiful like Jaime Cersei, like you bring the energy. It was so cool. I'm floored right now. These people are amazing.
Oh, I love you. Yeah, we do, like, it's become sort of the thing that this is when I perform fellatio on his guitar. Like, every time we do Half, I drop down during his solo and just, like, lick the neck really disgustingly. So but these are the best photos that are ever taken of our band, is, like, me licking his guitar and the two of us back to back being, like, creepy twins, which I'm not sure if everybody knows that's what's going on in all of our pictures.
Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's twins. Literally, that's how I understood the relationship of the whole band. I was like, oh, I think I get it.
Well, that's great. I mean, like, yeah. Okay. So, like, Feast is my favorite book. I was a show watcher first because I didn't think I'd
Okay.
like it, and I was like, meh, like not like a mega fantasy person, like as an adult, And but then it really opened up a lot for me again, So I watched the show. Once I feel like I ran out of show around 3, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna read the books now, And Feast was like the first thing where I had no information. And so that might be part of why it was so special to me. I had no previous conception of like where the story was going to go.
I also love it because when I first started the show, I hated Sansa.
Yeah, well, I mean, season 1, Sansa is hard to like. She's like an obnoxious teenager. She's like somebody who,
And that's kind of where in the books it gives a little separation. Like, book Sansa, she's 11. Like, you think of like an 11-year-old girl, and it's a lot different than a 13-year-old girl or a 12-year-old girl. I mean,
totally.
them aging her up really is different. It's like the difference between her being like, no, Dad, like, I'm going to marry this beautiful prince is like crazy different from an 11-year-old to a 13-year-olds these days have iPhones attached to their hips and better lip gloss than I do.
Yeah.
Or at least more expensive. I don't, I guess I can't judge, but like, 11-year-olds are like, that's 5th grade. You're awkward still-ish these days.
Yeah.
I mean, even just comparing, it's nuts to think. So that did do that kind of character a disservice because in the books you kind of like, no, you dumb young girl. Like we've all, I remember doing really stupid shit now as an 11-year-old, but when I watched the show, man, I hated her. I was like, oh my God, she's so annoying. And everyone I knew told me I looked like her. Like, you look a lot like her. Yeah. And I was like, no, it was a nightmare. I got to season 2 and I was like, oh man, and the wildlings, and I was like, Egret's my favorite, and I wanted to cosplay Egret because I do a lot of the conventions, as you know, and like was very excited about that. I made the guy I was seeing at the time, like I made him a Jon Snow costume, and like I made myself an Egret. I was so excited. I was like, this is the shit. So I started reading the books right after season 2 aired. I was like, all right, I gotta get me in this, and I bought the books on eBay. I don't know why I didn't just like buy them from a bookstore. I'm a piece of shit. But I got them on eBay and I was like, all right, I walked up to the local diner. I ordered like my favorite thing, this thing that the diner makes by me. It's called hippie hash, if you've ever had it.
No, I have not.
It's awesome. It's like a bunch of greens and some feta and like some meat, some gyro meat all fried up and like really good shit. I highly recommend it if you ever see it on a menu or any of a variation. Obviously, I'm sure somewhere else makes it. I would walk up there, get my hippie hash, get my coffee, be sitting at a table, and I would just read the books. And I got through all of them, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much better than the show. And season 3 happens, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It was good. I need more of this. Like, season 4 was the worst of me because the first half I was like, okay, some of this is weird, but I'm still into it. It's an adaptation.
Sure.
From the end of the season, the last 2 episodes, I was just like, this isn't.
Well, four ends with like a field of skeletons, right?
I'm like, that's my hopes and dreams about the show. I was so mad. And like, I still appreciate it for what it is. Obviously, I mean, absolutely, that's how adaptations go. You can't have everything. But I was just like, there's so much more to all of this. This is bullshit. I was so mad.
Of course.
I ran this fan page. We're not really active right now, but I run this fan page on Facebook with a friend called The Page of Many Faces. We have some memes, some dank memes, and some fun stuff. But season 5, we had a pretty good spoiler source sending us some stuff. And my friend who runs it with me, Shelly, the lady Shelly on Twitter, she said to me, she's like, Chloe, I have bad news for you. And I was like, what? And she's like, season 5, Sansa's going home to Winterfell to be Jane Poole. And I'm like, no. And I wouldn't believe her, dude. I would not. I was so mad. I would not believe her. And she was like, okay. And the trailer came out and it had Sansa in the crypts of Winterfell. And I looked at her and I was like, no, it's still not happening.
Oh, yeah.
And then it happened. And that was like, the moment when Sansa saw her dad's head get chopped off? Mm-hmm. That was like my moment. Right there. That was
going back and watching the first few seasons. I still really enjoy it. Like there was definitely stuff there's stuff in there where I'm like, why do that? But I remember my watching of it the first time, you know, and it was like I still feel like they were capturing some emotional element that I thought was good. So I don't know. It's
I mean, there's nothing like each time a king of the north is pronounced, like John's even like you can't.
Sure, you get oh dude, when you watch a show, you get a swell of music. You get like the watery Kit Harington eyes. You get like
it's you get so
incredible visuals and like all of that shit. Like that's fantastic, and I feel like that carries through. And there are some actors who are just so on point.
Oh my god,
and so
Lena
well cast.
Headey makes the show. Lena Headey,
God, yeah,
I mean,
we love Lena Headey. Yeah.
My personal belief, if we're gonna go there, is that like Lena Headey is only still around because she carries the show. Cersei, I think she'll die in TWOW.
Yeah, it's that is quite possible. That is quite possible.
I'm working on a really big analysis about it and like a theory. Really cool. Brendan B. Fish, Jeff, from around the internet, he's been helping me with it because like I'm not keen when it comes to army stuff. He has a brain for that. I'm just not. I went to him with it. I was like, hey, you want to help me? Because I'm just a young girl who knows little of the ways of war. Like,
what's battle like? Yeah.
But I don't understand how the numbers always work. Sometimes, like, that's my one weak point. Everybody has an Achilles heel, and in A Song of Ice and Fire, that's mine, man. I read these books, and I'm like, I read the battle. I don't really get it. Like, I don't know what they did, but it sounded like so-and-so won, so good for, you know, like, I don't
know. Bro, I'm the exact same about battle stuff. Like, I'm like, I'm happy to watch a scene. Yeah, like, I liked how the dragons did that thing. Like, when it comes down to a battle scene, like, I'm usually not that engaged, book or show.
Well, that's why, like, Blackwater was the best episode of Game of Thrones, because
I agree.
It took the story that I was like, I desperately want to understand the tactics, and I kind of do, but I need more. And it took that, and it made it more. Like, it brought it to life really well. It included the chain. You know, it was just some of those little things were really great. So I loved Blackwater, but, like, enter those books with that thought. You know what I mean? That's not... Some people, like Jeff, for example, he is so brilliant with that because his mind is likened to that. But I'm more in for it, like, the character analysis, the political machinations.
Oh, totally. That's why you want that, all that backstory stuff inside the Red Keep with the women, and like that makes it really powerful. I don't know. I'm a little less excited about an exciting visual battle like on screen. So I don't know. I remember that's why I didn't like the Lord of the Rings movies because like there was so much battles. And I know that's kind of lame of me, but like that was sort of my vibe. And so when I like a battle in Game of Thrones, I'm like, okay, this was well done for whatever reason. Like I cared about the characters enough. I cared about both sides enough. I cared about, whatever. I think that's helpful.
No, I agree to that extent because I'm about to get crucified, Pontius Pilate on this podcast. If we're going to hey, Easter was just last week, so I feel like we can stay in the spirit,
It can happen, yeah.
Nailed it.
Nailed it, yes.
Get it? Yeah, like the 9-inch nails that she's... Yeah, anyways, so I digress. So I haven't tried to read Lord of the Rings. It just never, I was a little too young for that like nerdy craze of when it first reemerged as like the movies are coming out, so everyone's rereading the books. Like kind of like how, how people from the 90s that read the books this whole time, I felt. I didn't start reading it then. I'm a poser, like
totally.
I jumped on after the show, but I jumped on before the Red Wedding, so I kind of feel like I should get a sticker. You know what I mean?
You should. I was immediately after the Red Wedding. No sticker for me.
You know what? No, you still get a sticker because the people that were like at season 5, I'm like, fuck you, and now you love it. Like, get out.
Right.
Some of us, this is a labor for love. For some of us.
It's true.
Some of us like read the red wedding. Can you say that? Say that 3 times fast.
Read the red wedding. Nope, can't do it.
It is really hard because read the red. Yeah.
That sucks.
That one, when I read that, I was like, oh, my heart broke 10 times harder than the show, and I didn't think that was real. Like, that's a big emotion, like biggest of moods.
For sure.
I really think Cersei will die in the Winds of Winter. I have it mapped out pretty well right now. It'll be out soon, but it's a good one. There's a lot there.
I could see that totally happening. Like I've always been really intent on a like Jaime Cersei face off of some kind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know now. The way they set up the end of this past season.
Yeah, how it's set up in the books is so in the outline of like the Winds of Winter, where Jaime and Brienne are in the beginning.
Yep.
Where Cersei is in the beginning, like she's about to have her trial by the first quarter of the book. Then by the middle end, I think it's gonna go that she'll end up fleeing the Red Keep towards the end of her plot. And I think the Winds of Winter. And poor Quentin Emmett Booth and I, if you know of him, my associate.
I
do! my workplace associate, Everett Borscht. If you know of him, he's from Not a Cast, or his own blog, which is excellent, poorquentin.tumblr.com. Great content, hashtag. Just to give a plug, I guess. He and I have been talking about how, like, the end of The Winds of Winter is so set up for a kind of like a climax on our hero's end, for, like, the Starks, Sansa to finally leave the Vale and go home. Jon's awakened and about to do some savior shit. Sure. Daenerys is probably going to return home to Westeros. Like, all these big... Aegon is probably going to get coronated, I think. Like, all this big bullshit is about to go off. You know, like, the wall may be coming down. Euron blowing the Horn of Winter. Like, all this shit is going down. And I think that you need a big villain death. I don't think Littlefinger will die yet.
Yeah, I could hold him off a little. Yeah, sure.
I don't think Sansa's going to be in the Vale, or home from the Vale, sorry. I don't think Sansa will be home from the Vale until the very beginning of...
Dream of Spring, yeah.
I think end of Wind of Winter will end with this really big Sansa moment of her rallying the Vale to go home with her to Winterfell, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like these big penultimate moments for all of these characters, and I'm really interested to see how it all goes down, obviously, but... I think that you need a big villain death, and I think Cersei's the big villain death, because she's just being real fucking stupid.
Well, bro, to bring it back around, like part of like I was talking about, like I love Feast for probably because of seeing Cersei's brain like for the first time.
Dude, those chapters were nuts. She's crazy.
She's crazy, and like I actually think that was one of my first that's why I like it so much. Also, I like fell in love with the books over show, because the show really did not give me enough of any of that. Like, I think Lena Headey is incredible, but I like in terms of like what they were able to tell with that plot, there was not enough.
Lena Headey in my head, like that's one of the characters of the show that she is Cersei to me.
Yes.
Like I read the books. And one of the parts in the books that is the most haunting moment for me during when they're at Derry. And, you know, Sansa has just said, you know, like, I don't know what happened. I can't, like, you know, yell about the king. Like, I'll be in trouble. I'm betrothed to him. I can't get my dad in trouble. Right. So Sansa's just, you know, I don't know. I didn't see what happened. And Arya's like, you liar, yada, yada. And Cersei, you know, says, I want the wolf's skin. And Robert's like, we don't have it. And she goes, we have a wolf. She says, like, quietly. It's like, and her emerald eyes are gleaming. And it's like it says how quietly George literally writes, she says it quietly with like a smirk around her eyes. And it's the most evil villain, evil queen moment I have ever seen. And I see Lena Headey in my head doing it. And I see her just looking up at her eyebrow. That eyebrow she does. Girl. Yeah, that eyebrow she does. I see that pushing upwards, and her just that little tiny smirk she does, and her going so quietly that it's scary. We have a wolf. I am so grateful to the show, even for that, because to humanize that moment in my head and like see her, but then also to humanize Cersei, like George, the way he writes her from the very beginning, like this little girl who's also in love with princes, and she wanted to be Rhaegar.
Such a Sansa at that moment in her life, except a little nastier.
Yeah. Right, like killing her best friend. Like Sansa would never kill Jane Poole. In fact, I think she will totally like avenge in her name, you know? Like she will totally be like, Jane Poole, that's my bit.
You compare a Ned to a Tywin, and like that's just the vibe that was given to them as babies.
Dude, Sansa is like, she is Ned Jr. People never want to admit that, but she is Ned Jr. Dude.
Ned was Arya's an extreme, taking all the sort of justice bringing kind of into her own hands.
I would say Arya is actually very cat.
Yeah, actually, for sure. Like very impulsive, very being like, well, this
Black
is
and
what's
white.
right. Yeah, very black and white. This is what's right, and I'm gonna take it into my own fucking hand. While Ned is a deliberator, for sure.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing. Ned thinks about like the consequences, especially with regards to his
Yeah.
family. Like he sits there and he doesn't make a choice because he goes, this could affect my family horribly and they would all die. And you know why he thinks that?
Yeah.
Because look at his past. Look what happened
Yeah,
in the
dude.
past. Look what he brought Jon Snow home to protect his sister's name and protect him for his sister. He promised her. He is an honorable man and he knows he wants to do what's right and do it right. And that's something that's so interesting and why so many people are so... Ned Stark is the forefront of Stark loyalism.
Oh yeah.
The Starks.
You bet.
I know we talked about how much I love Half. And again, I'm gonna like sit here and be all like, Haley, now you have to be humble about yourself, like awkward, like prod you through the computer. I want to talk about personally 3 of my favorite Manimal songs from 7. And again, if you are a Song of Ice and Fire fan, but you also like music, I don't understand how you couldn't like this music. So it's really good. I literally I left Ice and Fire. I didn't like think I was gonna buy shit from you guys at all. And I didn't. I literally immediately went on your Bandcamp and bought your album leaving the con. Like, bought the album. I like made a Bandcamp account just to buy the album. So I got to listen to this while I drive home from Ohio tonight because I was staying with my friends that lived in Ohio. And that night I had to go home for work the next morning. So I was like, I got to get there. I got to download this on their Wi-Fi. And I got to go home and listen to this whole album and memorize it. So
I love it.
I have favorites. My 3 favorite songs. Get ready. Brace yourself. They are Lone.
That is the Jon Snow song.
Dude, Lone is so good. Teeth, that's an Arya Stark song. And Good, which is a Brienne of Tarth song. All of them, those 3 though, like they're all of these songs are really good. I'm just can't, like, I'm not being paid for this. Dude, I listen to them all the time. I posted some tweet a long time ago about how the walls of my apartments are really thin and my neighbors are probably appreciating me like screaming the lyrics to Lone from like my Bluetooth speaker. I was just getting it. Lone is like so cool because not only is it just a Jon Snow song, but it captures that hero journey thing, you know, like you just feel like the strain of the hero's journey and the strain of Jon Snow's birth of like R plus L equals J. And like my favorite lyrics are, you have to check the song out because it's just like, it's this 80s like slow dance, like you're at 80s prom and you're slow dancing to this angsty rock grunge song with like the really cute punk rock girl. Like I feel like I'm in 1989. I don't know, but it's really
Rad.
good. Exactly, it's totally rad. The lyrics are...
Blue roses and tension red, and all of the thoughts run right out of my head. Now I got your scent. How will I ever get home again? I was better off alone when I was long.
the most Jon Snow, Ygritte, but Rhaegar and Lyanna thing also.
Yeah.
And just Jon and Ygritte have all these moments in the books where they say things, but they're totally Rhaegar and Lyanna things that they're saying. Like, Jon lies next to Ygritte, and he's got his little boner crossed up on her butt.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yes.
Right, and he's playing this like, and honestly, like with her, it's like playing a southerner and a northerner again, up like further north. They are like, I don't know. There's something very interesting happening there. I love the Jon and Ygritte stuff because it challenges him and his convictions so deeply in a way where even him being like, oh, finding out that Robb is gonna rebel and doesn't challenge him in the same way, in the same emotional way as Ygritte does.
Copies off of Ned so much. Like, Ned's my dad, my Lord Father, my Lord Father. And he doesn't even know the truth. And, like, he's doing more of what his Lord Father would do than he knows.
Yes, like, Ned is, like, this lawful good kind of person, but he also acts from the heart in such a irrational, dumbass way.
He's a dragon.
Right, but it's like that is a thing in their family. Like, you're acting off of this emotion that, yeah, even when you know what's right and wrong, you know? Yeah.
And the thing you guys grasp in this, even like without your beautiful, amazing lyrics and vocals, like if I had to cut that out so you wouldn't have to be so humble, the melody of the song isolates you. You just feel so, you feel alone. You feel it. You understand those years that Jon grew up as a bastard. As like, okay, I shit on Jon a lot because he's a mediocre white kid from the suburbs of Winterfell. Dude, I'm a bastard too, and I grew up in a decent home, and like I'm pretty decent. So like, shut up, Jon. We get it. You're emo, right? Like you listen to My Chemical Romance. We know.
I could have made this an emo song. Maybe I should have.
At the same time, like we all know that feeling as a teenager. Like some of us more than others. Like I said, like some of us get it. You know, like you don't know your parents technically. You know a parent, and yeah, they're the best parent ever. Like Ned Stark treated Jon like his own.
Right.
You know, he was allowed at the feast. He was like, Catelyn was like, I'll suffer it for my lord husband because that's what I'm supposed to do. Because, you know, whatever. That's the societal norm, which is fucked up. Anyways, I digress. That isolation, that feeling just of like, it doesn't matter that my life is okay. Like, I still feel empty. I still feel weird. I'm a teenager. I don't know my real mom. I don't know any of this shit.
Right. And I'm like, I thought this was actually going to be something. It's like almost like he thought he was joining like a cool religion. And then he's like, and it's like, and honestly, you're also amongst like mostly rapists. So it's a very different thing than you thought you would dedicate your life to. Like I understand the purifying idea of like getting away and doing this other thing.
In a way, he was just as Sansa and Bran like, you know what I mean? Like that they thought knighthood and values. He went into the Night's Watch thinking this is honorable, this is the thing to do, and he shows up and there's these rapists and people that don't know how to talk or do things or make food or brandish a sword, and he's just like, how do you not know this shit, you fucking bitch, you basic bitch? And he's alone there. He was alone at home where he was just a bastard, even though he learned nice things. And then he gets stuck with these wildlings, and he finds someone that you know, feels almost as out of place as he does in the world. And while he's not a wildling, he's definitely privileged from being a Stark of Winterfell.
Noble upbringing, for sure, yeah.
The wildlings, Donald Noy, like, gives him the, hey, don't be a dick, dude. You've had so much life that these people haven't. Like, these people were raised in fucking wells by like fucking hookers. Like, that's what he's saying. He's like, you're an idiot, don't be a dick, dude. Like, you've had so much more. Even then, like, yeah, he has, but
yes, you have this good upbringing, but at the same time, like, no one has ever claimed you, you know, no one has ever really.
Ned tried. He did as much as he could. He can't do more than that. That was all he could do that was acceptable in that society.
Someone like Jon is always going to be searching for that place where he feels like he's at home. And
so I have a stepdad who's amazing. He was the best thing that's ever happened in my life. I am eternally grateful, but I get that because I remember being young and not understanding and not grasping that of like, somebody didn't want me, a parent didn't want you. That's a big, that's worse than any breakup you could have, that you live your life thinking, my mom didn't want me. That's what he thought, you know? He thought someone didn't want me. I was bad enough. And that's where it's hard because all these characters are such gray characters. There's such gray morality. Like Catelyn, totally. I think Catelyn Stark is an amazing character because from her side of view, when you look at it, like, you totally get it. You go, oh, Catelyn, baby, sweetie.
And like, dude, your husband has... He could have at any time given you any piece of information or a clue, you know? But he kept this from you, you know? There are a million things he could have done differently. Like, I honestly think he could have trusted Catelyn to do the right thing. But, yeah, he didn't. But it fucking drove her crazy. Like, there could have been a better life for her and for Jon. that didn't involve any of this, but then we wouldn't have a story, so it's okay.
Absolutely. I do love that isolation, though, that Lone really grabs. Like, you just hear, there's this part where Haley is just singing and repeating Lone, and it's just like this moment, like, it has this embodiment of wolves out in, like, the open, like, one wolf solely howling at the moon, and that's Jon Snow in this song, and it's so cool.
Oh, thank you, bro. Like, I was inspired by, by Velvet Underground.
I love the Velvet Underground. Shit, dude. Shit.
I had recently, when I wrote Lone, seen Jesus and Mary Chain, which is a great band, and they're like an 80s band who does very like big reverby ballads, kind of in the way that Velvet Underground did. And so they have a song called Some Candy Talking, and it's a song about drugs. It's just blatantly about doing drugs, you know? Right. So this is a drug song, and like it is a reference to heroin by the Velvet Underground. So I was looking at both of those songs, and I was like, I want to write that. I really want to write that, and I want it to be like this sort of thing where it's like you are resisting the whole time being this creature, you know, and it's almost like a werewolf song in a way, like, like it's like he doesn't want to be this animal that can't resist this stuff that takes him off his path, which he thinks his path is to be like this righteous dude, you know. And it's like the hero's journey means becoming the werewolf, man. Like, you have to be an animal.
Kill the boy.
Yeah, kill the boy. Be a fucking wolf. Honest, that's the song I wanted to write, and it's like, so I referenced both like heroin and Some Candy Talking in that song, like musically. Like, if that's like the thing that you're responding to, I like hope that's what it is, because it was this idea of like spinning out into rage and sickness and addiction and lust, and like it's like I cannot withstand sin.
So I think there's a really cool thing in Rhaegar and Lyanna in being original sin.
Oh yeah.
That's how Jon and Ygritte were. They were original sin in the story. That was Jon's original sin was fucking Ygritte. That was his like, as he sat there in guilt as he was like pumping inside of her. Like, and that's what you capture. You capture that addiction, that original sin, that flesh on flesh, that like groping in the way that you capture in Half, like this like sexual groping, weird electric feeling. You capture that in this, and it's this like this physical wanting that you cannot overcome. You can't say no to this.
Yeah, some Hamilton references.
Say no to this.
Exactly. I think you nailed Lone.
Yeah, I do. I get it. Like, especially because Jaime goes home and he doesn't want it, but he wants it, and just like Ygritte says, I didn't want it, but I did.
Oh, like, God, for sure.
That wanting, that primal animalistic giving into the wolf, the dragon, whatever you want to say, lust.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that in all of Game of Thrones. Like, we just did this thing on History of Westeros, like you and I, about animals, and it's like the whole sigil thing, like, of these creatures that kind of like speak to your nastiness.
In a way,
is really interesting. Like,
what does that say about House Eastermont? Are they just turtling? Or are they just like?
Yeah, no, like, there are some bummer houses. Like, I know Olenna is really bummed out about growing strong. But, like,
hey, dude, showers are better than... Wait, no, growers. Fuck! I fucked it up.
We're drunk.
Listen, growers are better than You know what? Anyways, so...
Growing strongers are better than showing stronger.
Double, triple, quadruple entendre. That was good.
I don't even know.
What?
Okay, but yes, like, there is something very interesting. Like, I liked, when I was writing this, to have this animal thing to turn back to. Like, there is such visceral stuff. Like, okay, like, if you're gonna write music about a story you like,
right?
My guide would be identify the universal emotion from them and that's where you work from. Like, you find like what you get about it, and that's where that's why good music comes about. Like, I hope,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, A Song of Ice and Fire elicits all this emotion from fans. I mean,
Yeah.
think about how passionate. I don't know if you were following it all, but Davos Fingers is a podcast that they did that. They were the ones that do the March Madness matchups.
Right, yeah.
And I blocked 7 people this round because people...
I saw some Sansa moments. Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying all this shit that, like, I mean, this is a battle that tears people apart. You know what I mean? Like, this is like,
For sure.
you see people on your timeline that you're like, I never knew you felt that way, and I must murder you now. Like,
If you want to elicit something from others, like, I wanted to kind of make something where it's like, maybe someday, I didn't know I'd like play at conventions, you know? Like, I was like, when I
Right.
wrote this, I was like, someday people who are like running out of content suddenly find this thing, and they're like, oh my god, it's like this like little secret where I can like dig apart a
Oh my
song,
God.
and it makes me feel emotional, and like that's the thing I want.
this album, 7, again, if you guys have not, I'm going to have the Bandcamp link below. And if you have not bought it, you need to get on it. Even if you can, like, stream it first from Bandcamp and listen to each song, but pay for it after, because, man, I don't buy a lot of bullshit, okay? Like, I'm pretty wine and potatoes, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes potatoes or vodka. It depends. I don't buy a lot of shit. This year at Ice and FireCon, there are a bunch of vendors, and I'm like, oh, I gotta buy shit from them because they're really good, and I'm kind of flipping out because I'm like, I never buy shit. But this was something that, like, after I listened to it, I just threw my money at the screen, because even if you're just a music lover, even if you've only watched a show, even if you haven't watched a show or listened to a song or whatever, you know what I'm saying. If you had, which also,
You've
why
never
are you,
heard a song.
You're like, yeah, even if you've never heard of music in your life, like, it's just like, it's some really good fucking jam music, especially driving. I drive a lot. I do a lot of trips for
Word.
comedy. So, like, when I hear this shit, I'm just like, yeah, this is my shit. Like, it's just like rock and roll at its best, like, also nerdy. Like, you're sitting there like, oh, I love Game of Thrones. Even if you don't, like, read the books, you can go, I love Khaleesi.
I hoped that people would like this, even if they didn't read or watch. Like, I was like, I want to write something where we could be like, the emotion is so universal that, like, my sister who watched the pilot with me the first time when we were like, hey, we like Game of Thrones, probably not, and we watched it drunk, you know, like, and she fell asleep. Like, every time they went to the wall, she fell asleep. I want to write a record where, like, even she is like, I get the emotion.
You're collapsing the plots down to, like, a 3-minute, 40-second song. You know,
Yeah.
like,
It's tiny. It's teeny tiny. And it's also, okay, so I wrote this right before season 6. So I wrote it at the end of season 5. Was when I started writing it that summer. That's where, like, kind of the plot stopped, like, in terms of, like, information. But,
it was creative.
yeah, I feel like the emotion of, like, getting to that spot, it's a lot of times when I look back at those songs, I'm like, yeah, I kind of did the right thing. Like, that's kind of where the plot went. Like, I watched the arc close enough, and that's where it went.
Yeah.
I hope.
I think you, honestly, like, okay, so my next favorite song.
Yay! Me!
The most validating podcast. Haley's sitting here like, I am great, thanks.
I'm chugging a bottle of wine and being like, all about me.
Everyone should want to be on this podcast, because I'm just going to sit here and get drunk and tell you how great you are. It's honestly what I'm like in real life, too, so.
Chloe
Please
is
be
a
my friend.
perfect angel. Yeah, be her friend.
So there was a sidebar I just cut because it was the end of one of my most important theories of all time. That Haley and I will never forget Haley, because she just helped me find the truth in my whole life. Ft.Haley Bowery, the most beautiful woman in the entire universe, and she's so smart, and she's on this call with us. I love you. I'm so excited. Ice and FireCon is going to be so good. Haley and I have this panel, and we're going to talk about it so soon, but we have to talk about this song that they wrote. The Manimals do this beautiful song called Teeth. And if you've ever wanted to feel just like especially, okay, if you're listening to this and you identify as a woman, if you just want to have the best, like, female experience empowerment ever, you got to listen to the song Teeth by the Manimals.
Oh.
If you love Arya Stark, I'm a big Spotify user. I have like fandom playlists because especially when I'm writing, they put me in the mood to write. If I'm cosplaying at a con, they put me in the mood to like put my makeup on for that character and like get in the mood and just like chill. I like Spotify. I like playlists. I love music. So Teeth by the Manimals is so good because it's an Arya Stark song. And the lyrics that are my favorite lyrics are from the bridge towards the end.
Dark wings, dark words, serve me to steal. Is it true that summer's over? I thought this would go much slower. Can't you hear my brothers laughing?
That is the most badass, like, Arya Stark brandishing needle around. Like, okay, I have two really big moods about this. Arya Stark just, like, all like, okay, I'm gonna avenge my goddamn family. I have my little fucking sword that's a needle, and I'm gonna stab you with it. And I hate you, fuck you, you know. But also, then there's this, like, lyric there's two lyrics that are just so Arya Stark that connect her to home. And there's her asking, can't you hear my brothers laughing, running, gasping, and I pass them? Just her, like, warging into wolves. And then there's this line, my favorite part is that there's this little Sansa nod, which Arya tends to, like, reference all her brothers and then go, even Sansa. Like, I'll still love Sansa because she's my sister. She's my big sister, and we fight, but I love her. And she has this line that they wrote in this that is turn me to steel, like Sansa's porcelain ivory to steel. And it makes me think of just like, am I writing meta about your lyrics right now?
I love it. I'm obsessed with you. Go on. Tell me more.
There's just like Arya, it's so cool. Arya is always like, you know, I have to forget my identity and lose my whole identity, but I'll never not be a Stark. And she, like, always is skin changing into a wolf or warging into a wolf and, like, just, like, the most Stark bullshit and all, like, you should be righteous and good. Like, why are you a bad person? Like, to Sandor Clegane when she's like, why are you being a murderer? And he's like, because I was trained to be a murderer my whole life. Like, just, like, she has this black and white Stark, like, you know, like, you should be a good person, not a bad person thing. And it comes out that, like, no matter, every time she tries not to be a Stark, she becomes a Stark. You know, she's as Stark as it gets. And I love that about Teeth. Teeth is just as, like, raucous, bang your head, yeah, badass, I'm a wolf bitch. Stark loyalty, bitch, you know?
That was sort of what I was going for. Like, I was trying to do this. You know, like when we watch the show.
I've heard of it.
There's this feeling, yeah, Arya Stark, and you're like cheering about this child killing a human.
Right, not exactly the best, like, cheering moment,
right.
But in our eyes...
We're psyched because, like, we want her to get justice, and I totally get it. But I wanted to have this weird conflict inside the song of being like, Arya's posturing. She is trying to take on anything that she thinks will make her powerful against the horrors of the world, you know? We can't cheer for that. That's fucked up. She's killing people. So I wanted to make this thing where we're having this like glam, stompy, punk rock shit where we are stoked. We're singing along. And then all of a sudden it like the bottom drops out and she gets to just give away that she's however old she is at this point, like in the story, which is like 10. Yeah.
I imagine it as like a Winds of Winter, like post Mercy, like 3/4 into Winds of Winter.
Yeah, I buy that for sure. Exactly kind of where it is. Like, obviously I wrote it, what did I say, at the end of 5?
You had her slitting Boros, right? No, yeah?
Right before her trying to do real faceless man stuff. It's like she's trying to find the identity that is going to give her the most power. And so I think what I wanted was this moment of real vulnerability, and then her getting to say, like, yeah, I'm the wolf bitch, and, like, she is coming back as being, like, the most powerful thing I can be is just being a Stark. Like, no matter what. What I can be is be a Stark. And it's like, no matter how, like, dark I wanted to get, I'm good. It might hurt, but I'm good.
Kind of like my other favorite song.
Yeah. We're drunk. We're very drunk. I'm at my very last bit.
My absolute favorite, well, my third favorite. I can't choose a favorite. I love all. Lone is like the first one I think of.
These three. Okay.
As you know, I tweet about it. It's just like, so I love Lyanna Stark. I don't give it. Rhaegar can burn, I guess, whatever. Fuckboys are fuckboys. We'll talk about some fuckboys in a minute, but like, fuckboys are fuckboys. But like,
cool.
Man, this is a good one too. They're all good. All three of those like have different moods they put me in. Like I said, I drive a lot. I'll drive like an hour to a comedy show.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect amount of time for me to listen alone, listen to every song on Seven, really. And then like once I like get like that's like 3/4 of the way in, I get a couple rap songs at the end, get real pumped. I'm like, man, I just yelled about being Arya for like 7 minutes. If you ever get the chance to see the Manimals do Seven live or do a song from Seven live, Talk is also really fun. They are so fun. They break the audience into parts and you harmonize and you sing along. It's just so cool. It's like such a bonding. It's a really cool harmony too. I'm a music nerd. I play some instruments and I was in choir like my whole life. I was the second soprano. If you understand what that means, you know you get the weird shit.
Yes, me too.
I was like not a girl, not yet a woman. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So you get the weird shit, the weird harmony shit. They're like, you're smart enough to be able to be on this weird note this whole Talk is amazing for that. That's another favorite. Originally, I love, and again, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, there's Mother, there's Summer, there's all these songs. Like I'm trying to only stick it to 3, and I've already talked about like 20 of them, and there's only 7 on the fucking album.
How did that work out? Yeah, no, okay, so we talk about there's a Dany song,
Mother.
We've got Arya, Jon, Tyrion, then we've got Cersei on half, and then Brienne is good, and then the last song is Summer, which is a Bran song,
which I love.
That's the record. There's only 7, and then we also did a cover of Bear and the Maiden Fair. If that's the thing you're into, you can get it as part of the record. But
you should too, because it's so good. God, it's good. I can't like. Okay. Hey, I'm trying to make good.
All right, tell me about it.
Gonna put these clips in, so you'll hear these 20 to 30 second clips. Of these songs. Yeah. It's like hit clips, like from the 90s, you know, like, or 2000, whatever. So Good is so cool because it's Brienne of Tarth and it follows her hero's journey, which like, that's what's, you guys highlight a lot of the heroes. I know you're eventually working on a follow-up you've mentioned very briefly, which someday.
At some point, yeah.
No, I get it. I'm all about projects that need time. That's what makes them so good.
Yeah.
So, right, George? And, I'm crying. It's fine. If you don't know Brienne's journey, you know, she resembles, I think Brienne is such a big character for women in general because or anyone struggling with their gender identity or anything, like just struggling to fit in a world that denies you of that fitting in. Brienne resembles just so much of that, and this song really gets it. Brienne has this like moment, you know, she is born into this family with ideals of knighthood and valor and chivalry, just like Sansa Stark has these dreams, just like etc. And Brienne doesn't exactly get the luxury of being a beautiful person. She's an awkward tall girl, which I get, with like a weird shaped body, which I also get. And she lives in this life of like, she's in the public eye and she doesn't even want it. And she's a good person. It's just a deserve anything that happens to her ever. And the lyrics that I love so much, the Manimals kind of detail Brienne's journey through not only her life as being the truest knight in the story pretty much right now, the purest,
the goodest.
But not only do they detail that journey of her knighthood, but also in the verse, they kind of detail her life growing up and being bullied and being put into this like persecution for being a woman or trying to be different or break outside the gender norms. And also her journey through loves because she was betrothed or she had boys trying for her favor, which I do want to very briefly get on. We've been chatting forever, I know, but we have a little more because we have to talk about how much Hyle Hunt sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck
Fuck
him.
Hyle Hunt. Good by the Manimals travels through my favorite bit.
Third one would have me in dresses and a lady like the tradition says. I fought him then for that privilege he suffered. 3 broken bones I discover. I never know any others. Is this life just a dry run? Man, feet reaching out to touch someone. Not enough daughter, not enough son. Someday I'm gonna make good. I am gonna make good. I am gonna make good.
I just really liked this journey through 3, like, one of the best feedbacks I got about this record was that this is the sort of ballad of Brienne.
Yeah.
Like, that she's a knight deserving of a ballad. Like, she's the kind of knight from the songs that, like, we always hear from the people who really have pure vision.
She even has that line where she says to Catelyn, you know, they don't sing songs of women who die in childbirth in the most bloody war.
Sure.
That's the most bloody war, she says, you know, and they don't sing songs of them. They sing of the men going into battle over idiotic things.
I was, like, thinking about, like, her journey in a very ballad way. Like, it's like, let's break down, what did she have to deal with growing up? And I was thinking, when I wrote this song, my instantaneous thought was Bruce Springsteen singing "Not Enough Daughter, Not Enough Son." And, like, it's this very, like, angsty, like, visceral, like, gutsy moment of, like, she doesn't fit this world even at all. Like, she's honestly too good for us, and like, had to endure all of this shit that none of us have to deal with. I mean, like, so these 3 suitors, it was very much a tale, the tale of Brienne.
Yeah. It was perfect because you had 2 verses, a bridge, and a good, like, rock and roll chorus. Like, it was just, like, it was, like you said, Bruce Springsteen, like, just very, like, you're banging your head, like, yeah, this is a rock and roll song. Good. It's a ballad. It's a...
And, like, I thought about this, like, I'm gonna make good on my promises. Like, to say, like, I wrote this right at the end of season 5. It was, like, right before she finally meets Sansa again, you know? So, there was this feeling like Brienne is due to win at some point. Like, she is so good. She gets to, like, I hope she gets to meet up with people she's bound to protect, you know?
I hope so, too, but you know the gods aren't good.
No, like, so. I don't think, like, in the books, like, it's gonna be perfect, like, however it works out. But, no, it's gonna suck. But, like, I hope that she gets the opportunity again to,
Well, and how bad could it suck? I mean, at this point, she's had half her face.
Yeah, right. Off. She's a mess. Brienne is literally a mess, and I hope that she gets to do the thing that she hopes she can do, which is at least moderately protect the Stark girls. Moderately.
I mean, the show, it's so funny because against all odds, they set her up, and I'm like, I want Brienne to protect the Starks, but in the show, they, like, she fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, they made her fuck up, and I mean, whatever, it's because they hate women, but we'll keep going. And she was, like, there, and then she was like, I'm gonna kill Stannis instead, and I'm like, that's not what Brienne's gonna do in the books. That's not a thing.
Right.
Making Brienne's plot more about killing Stannis than that's not what she's gonna do.
Right, that was a tough moment, for sure.
I'm not saying I expect Stannis to, like, you know, last to the very last chapter a dream, like, no, but...
Right. No, there is something there for her. I mean, it's tricky. I want her to be challenged because I think that, like, pure goodness needs to be challenged in a story.
There's a really interesting theory. I don't know if you've read it. Really good friend of mine, Matt, Joe Magician 42, wrote this theory a while ago, and it's one of my favorite theories, and I know I'm not the first person to, like, just be excited about it. He wrote this theory about how, with the 5-year gap, because, you know, George cut 5 years, he was going to do a 5-year gap, Brienne, there are little echoes around the books in general of things from the 5-year gap. He says things, like, Littlefinger even, like, says stuff like, I had hoped for 5 years to, you know, sow this seed. You know, it fucking, like, you're, like, looking at the camera like, okay, George, Brienne, they have the echo of Brienne in Pretty Maris.
No, totally.
she looks totally jacked and just like is bitter and mean and joined a sellsword company. And that's like what could have happened to Brienne or the dark side, you know, like, so it's really interesting.
Like keeping that character alive because she's in the thing that you're writing, you know? So it's like, we're going to keep her going.
That's Brienne's dark side. That's Phasma.
Bizarro Brienne.
Brienne, yeah. Crazy. I love that theory though. It's such a good, and I think there's so many echoes of that. I think that Brienne, like, I'm going to read this passage. It's a long passage. So, like, who knows if I'll keep it. I might just be like, read this passage, bitch, with a, like, I might not. So, Brienne's story, like, I feel like I got a lot on my chest lately about Sir Hyle Hunt. A lot of people try to give a lot of excuses for Sir Hyle Hunt. All like, hey, he's not that bad. He tried to be better, but, like, he didn't. You know what I mean? Ever. And, like, Brienne straight up tells us that. But, like, I feel like anyone that's never had to deal with being bullied or, like, having, like, a weird, intimately, like, bad relationship like that of people, like, trying to trick them and just, like, in Feast, she has all these chapters that are just, like, she's looking for Sansa. She's trying to fulfill her vows. Yeah. And this passage, she's basically talking about Renly came to the Reach, and she rode all the way across the Reach to join him because she thought his message was so good, and he was courteous, and he welcomed her to his service, but his lords and knights were like, no way. Renly didn't care about who joined his camp as long as he had people join his camp. You know, like, he obviously wanted people to love him, and he was like, cool, she's in, this girl's into me, but other people didn't take that so easy. They didn't want a woman knight. She should be at home banging and putting out kids. Like, that's the idea of women, then, for them.
Right.
That's what they did. And she has this whole passage where she starts, and Big Ben Bushy was the first, one of the few men in Renly's camp who overtopped her. He sent his squire to her to clean her mail, and made her a gift of silver drinking horn. Sir Edmund Ambrose went with him one better, bringing flowers and asking her to ride with him. Sir Hyle Hunt outdid them both. He gave her a book, beautifully illuminated and filled with 100 tales of knightly valor. He brought apples and carrots for her horses and a blue silk plume for her helm. He told her the gossip of the camp and said clever, cutting things that made her smile. He even trained with her one day, which meant more than all the rest. She thought it was because of him the others started being more courteous. More than courteous. At table, men fought for the place beside her, offering to fill her wine cup or fetch her sweetbreads. Richard Farrow played love songs on his lute outside her pavilion. Sir Hugh Beesbury brought her a pot of honey as sweet as the maids of Tarth. Sir Mark Mullendore made her laugh with the antics of his monkey, a curious little black and white creature from the Summer Islands. A hedge knight called Will the Stork offered to rub the knots from her shoulders. Brienne refused them. She refused them all. When Sir Owen Inchfield seized her one night and pressed a kiss upon her, she knocked him arse backwards into a fire. Afterwards, she looked at herself in a glass. Her face was broad and buck-toothed and freckled as ever, big-lipped, thick of jaw, so ugly. All she wanted to do was be a knight and serve King Renly. Yet now, it was not as if she were the only woman there. Even the camp followers were prettier than she was, and up in the castle, Lord Tyrell feasted King Renly every night, whilst high-born maids and lovely maidens danced to the music of pipe and horn and harp. Why are you being so kind to me? She wanted to scream every time some strange knight paid her a compliment. What do you want? Eventually, we continue on, and Dickon Tarley heard 4 knights making fun of her, saddling up their horses, saying that they had a wager. 3 of the younger knights had started it. Ambrose, Bushy, Hyle Hunt, one of the original 3, I want to put that out there, started this game saying if you bought into the contest of the gold dragon, the sum would go to whoever claimed her maidenhead. If you love Hyle Hunt or you defend him, like, just think about that. He was one of 3 people who headed the game for Brienne's virginity. That's fucked up.
It was a fucking bet. Am I a fucking bet?
Like, what the fuck? People literally, like, think, like, okay. You know what? I'm beating a dead horse on this. This person, like, literally, like, blocked me, unfollowed me, whatever, but someone gave me a 10-tweet defense piece about Hyle Hunt. But I'm sorry, when you hear that story, he was one of 3 people who started a bet saying, and this person defended it saying that was how it was. But this person started a bet for money. Gold dragons, more money than you or I would make in Westeros. If we were in Westeros, we would be broke, A. B, we'd only be ahead because we'd be pushing babies out because we're hot young women. Okay. I don't have skills.
Yeah.
Okay, I have, like, 2 skills, but, like, I don't have skills. And I would be banging some old dude for his money. I mean, that's Westeros, dog.
When someone says this is how it was, first off, we're talking about a fictional universe, but
Not even a real universe.
Secondly, if we're talking about like something that, like kind of equates to our historical history, like fine. But I would say it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous to say that that's what would happen because that is what bad people do. If this was part of our society and you're just a dude going after what's right, you try to find some fertile, young, fucking whatever, you know? That's what you do.
And, like, I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this, but, like, it hasn't changed that much.
No, it
Dudes
hasn't.
are still assholes
Right,
like this.
right, but, like...
So, like, you can't defend these actions of a fictional universe that would have taken place a long time ago.
But I can more defend a dude who is just like, she was hot, so I fucked her. You know? I can almost more defend that dude. At least be like, that's how fucking nature works. Yeah.
The person that defended this to me was like, it was back then, whatever. And I'm like, okay, so you would bet right now for someone's virginity?
Right.
Like, you're shitty.
You are still competing against, like, the reason there was a competition was because she was masculine and large, but she was also a woman, and she was something that, like, seemed weird and other to you, and that's why it was a challenge. And that's...
Because you wanted to conquer it.
Right,
that's what it was.
That's some dude being like, oh, I saw lesbians, and I decided that was a thing I wanted to conquer.
I had to prove they loved me.
I had to prove that, like, I could get a lesbian to like me. Like, it's the same dumbness as that, or like, whatever. I don't know, whether it's gender or sexual orientation or just general presentation, I feel like trying to conquer someone for the thing that they, like, aren't is insane.
Yes, absolutely. And, like, literally she spends all of Brienne 5 in A Feast for Crows, like, saying Hyle Hunt was no true knight. She did not say the words aloud, not where Hyle Hunt might hear her and mock her. Hyle Hunt, like, just, like, all this, like, he was a dick.
Really hurt by him. Like, yes, once they're out doing their shit together, like, he kind of pulls it together. I don't know if that makes someone good. Like,
No, it doesn't. Exactly. And that's the biggest, like, you're not good for just, like, pretending to be good for me.
You are, like, ultimately you are always Freddie Prinze Jr. and she's all that. You made a fucking bet.
The asshole, like, I'm such a nice guy, though.
Right.
Like, the other guys were real dick. You still started a bet for my vagina.
Yeah,
like, get out.
Ew. He gave her a book. What an asshole.
Oh, that's the thing is, like, this person argued with me that because he gave her nicer presents that actually had something to do with her, she should have banged him.
That person is a bad person. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Like, you love Jorah. This person probably loves Jorah. They love Hyle Hunt. Like, if you love Jorah and you love Hyle Hunt, you probably, A, shouldn't be listening to this podcast because I hate you. I feel like I should be more, I'm not apologetic. And B, like, don't. Why do you do that? I don't get it, dude. Like, I don't get it. I don't, actual fuckhead, Hyle Hunt. I don't, when I read it, okay,
I know, mad. I feel the same way. Okay.
I'm really glad we just bitched about Hyle Hunt for so long. I fucking hate
Hyle Hunt. Sucks. They all suck.
He fucking sucks. Could you imagine hating Brienne that much?
Right? Right? To just be like, that's not even a human.
I ship Hyle Hunt and Brienne. Get the fuck, go stop.
No, that's somebody who doesn't view someone else as a person. That's insane.
Meninist.
Exactly.
If you love Hyle Hunt, you're a meninist.
Now that is canon.
Oh my god, I can't wait. So, speaking of us being ridiculous, let's talk about, we have this panel at Ice and Fire Con this year in a few weeks. 21 days. Holy shit, dude, I haven't downloaded shit for our panel. What are we doing at Ice and Fire Con?
So, on Thursday night, Here's the deal.
Thursday night.
There's never before been programming on Thursday night.
And we are opening the program. Ice and Fire Con is the premier A Song of Ice and Fire convention.
It is the bomb. Okay, so I went last year because I was invited because I wrote this record. And I had never been to a convention before. And I've said this before. but
you're doing amazing, sweetie.
I did not do anything last year. I just partied. I played my record and then I just drank and met new people and had an incredible time, and it was the most valuable thing I feel like I've ever done. Like, and so I've been so stoked to go back. And this year, like my band and I are not playing, but I'm doing some related stuff. We're doing like I'm doing little sing-along shit. We're like, I'm a part of a panel where we talk about songwriting, which is kind of neat. Like, just sort of like art kind of panel. And then Chloe and I, on Thursday night, which is not even when the con starts, we are like
day zero.
It is day zero. It's when people are just like rolling in.
Ready? When you come to Ice and Fire Con, you have like this feeling where you're like, I'm home.
Yes.
And like, so you haven't had this feeling quite yet. Yeah, you're about to.
You are.
Honestly, no, you're even about to, Haley. You're second. So my first Ice and Fire Con, I found Ice and Fire Con on Tumblr. I was really into cosplay and going to cons and writing. And I was just like, people love A Song of Ice and Fire enough to cosplay from the books?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was on Tumblr in A Song of Ice and Fire cosplay tag. And I was just like looking and I was like, these people go to a con where they love this. Like, it's a thing. All of them go to this con and they all love this. And I was like, all right. And so I get in there. I'm like, I got to go to this con. It's my birthday present to myself. I'm an April baby. So like, I was like, end of the month, April, I got to go. This is it. So I grabbed my best friend Elena and I was like, let's go to this con. We go and we fall in love. And we aren't even like in the first year. Like, at first we were like, oh, these people, it's a small con.
I was mega not in my first year. Like, I was like I did I did a show, so I was like kind of like some people.
Thursday night last year, it was me and Elena's second year, so we're like, wow, these people actually give a shit about us for the first, and we're like, oh. And there's like, again, 200 people-ish at this con last year, and like, we don't know anyone at all. And we're like, we got to make friends, like, the first year. Not the year you came, the first year. And baby Elena and Chloe, we didn't know anyone, and we were scared. And I was like, but we're cosplaying, we're having fun, we're going to go to every event, we're going to do it. It's my birthday present, yeah. And, like, I'm like, I am so not going to sleep the whole weekend in my own room alone. Like, we're going to go. So we went the first year, and, like, we, like, pushed ourselves into events, and we had fun, and we met people. And the second year, we like, felt in finally. We're like, man, we know everyone. We hung out last year. Like, we get people. We love this series. We love these people. They're all great. This is a family. And we show up and we go to some party and we're about to leave. It's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. because Elena and I decided to dedicate our lives and start volunteering that year.
Yeah.
Because we're like, wow, we love, like literally we went to this convention and I hate work and I love this con so much. I do so much work for nothing. Like like hang out. Like I love them. These are my people, dude. I love that about community, man. This fandom is so cool. Yes. Everybody in this fandom is like, let's listen to music about Game of Thrones. Let's like talk about it every day, all the time. Like, these people are huge nerds. You're all fucking nerds. And I love
literally,
you.
like today, I'm thinking about Hyle Hunt. Like that is exactly what this fandom is.
That is, dude. Like, are you not, dude? I just talked about the Manimals who do a fucking Game of Thrones concept album for like a good hour. Like I described lyrics and my feelings about them. Like I created a space for people to listen to me do that. Like that's how this fandom is. It's so cool. It's so badass. Yeah. And Ice and FireCon like solicits that. Like we all like everyone there were like, let's have a good time. Let's be nerdy. Let's fucking, if you want to dress up, you can dress up. You don't want to dress up, don't fucking dress up. No one cares, dude. I showed up my second year. And I was at this party, and at 2 a.m., I looked at Elena, and I was like, we have to wake up early for our shifts for volunteering tomorrow. We need to go back to our room now. And she's like, no, you're so right, because we were all doing shots of tequila, and we're like, we gotta stop. So there was more to that. Elena and I were like, we have to go. We have to stop drinking, and we have to go home to our room, our hotel room, over at the lodge, and we have to sleep. And as we left, you walked in. And I was like, that's Haley from the Manimals.
Shut
And I was like looking at Elaine. I'm not kidding, dude. I looked at Elaine and I was like, but we should stay. And she's like, you just spent half an hour telling me we have to go home, bitch.
No.
We have to go home. Like, don't try to play this game. And I was like, okay. So we left. You were like, hey. And you like waved to us. And I was like, that was it. And the next night you guys played. And I was like, this is so badass. Like, it was such a fun, like, all of us are such tight-knit nerds that, like, we love A Song of Ice and Fire. We love Game of Thrones. We love everything to do with it. We love the Manimals because they play about Game of Thrones. They play a Game of Thrones album. And, like, everyone was just, like, hype. Even if they had never heard the Manimals, everyone was at that concert that night, like, just bopping around. Like, just, like, jumping. It was badass.
It was literally the coolest experience of my entire life because so like I've been doing a band for a long time, and then there was a little hiatus where I decided I was gonna stop, like for whatever reason. And I live in New York. There's a lot of people doing bands. I was bummed out about the whole thing, like how stuff goes when we make art stuff, and for whatever reason, there was like this period of time. The period of time when I quit doing music was when I became sort of obsessed with Song of Ice and Fire. And so I decided to write this thing, and it came out of like such a pure spot, like being like, I don't care if people ever like this. I just like want to write this nerd ass record where I get to talk about a thing I like, and I just trusted that the fact that I liked it so much would carry it, and it did, like, because I got to go some cool places because of it. But literally the coolest moment of my entire life, and like when I got home and I talked to my mom on the phone, she was like, you remember that for your entire life, which was that like singing my songs and looking out and seeing people sing along, some people crying, some people dancing, people knowing them already. It was like the most incredible thing. And I was like, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is why I wrote it. I wrote it because like I was hoping people would come across this magical little thing where it was like, I ran out of stuff. I want more stuff. I want more story. Dude, I want more emotion. I want more, all of that. So like, it was very special to like, be like, I'm in a place where people came because they wanted more of it. They wanted more of the feeling. They wanted more of those characters. They wanted more of the emotion. So
I think that's so important. And especially like, it's so cool to be in such a open community that breeds that, fosters that kind of feeling and behavior. Like Ice and Fire Con for me is like that. I've been so a part of inclusive cons that are like, oh no, we like these, and like, you cosplay, you do this, you want to fit in, you want to feel geeky and normal in this crowd. But Ice and Fire Con, I think the intimacy of that is what's so cool, is that like you start to know everyone after a couple of years, you start to hang out, you start to like know, hey, these people fucking love the fandom so much they wrote an album about it. Like these people like write meta for free every day. These people write theories. These people like just want to chat about it. Like you don't have to be just a creator in this community. You could just be a person consuming and you're still respected. And I think it's cool that everyone here respects that. I think Ice and Fire Con's gonna be so fun this year because we had a really big increase of people coming in. The final numbers will be revealed, I'm sure, after the con, but like,
yeah, it seems like a lot more,
if you haven't booked a room for Thursday night, if you're only Friday through Sunday, I strongly recommend just like right now getting on your boss and be like, hey, remember when I did that thing that was really good and you should give me another day off? Because like Thursday night, Haley and I have this panel, as we've been teasing, and it's gonna be, if you enjoyed our book versus show kind of drunk banter earlier where we don't hate the show. We don't. Dude, I love media that's so watered down I don't have to think about it. And
no, I actually like really enjoy it.
Haley, so here's the deal. Haley's gonna keep me in check on her drinking got side, and I'm gonna keep her in check on my drunk ASOIAF side and be like, okay, but remember how this in the books and this, and it makes all that bullshit. And she's like, but Chloe, appreciate this. And like, we are gonna have perfect harmony. A, like, it's just gonna be perfect. And B, I'm gonna like bring some like show moments where I'm like, it made me think of this quote, because like I like to watch it and get sad. Like Daenerys touching the sand on Dragonstone. Fuck, what a moment, dude. What a queen.
Yes, I agree.
They're good. They're really good. And you watch it. Your bitch ass watched
Bro,
it.
they put out, like, literally, listen, even if we are mad about Game of Thrones, they made a 5-minute silent scene of Daenerys experience, like, her experiencing
so
her
good.
home again. Like, I thought that, like, that was one of the things, like, okay, so recently I rewatched, as I said, like, just to prepare for Ice and Fire Con and our panel, just to be like, so I remember everything. And I was like, wow, like a 5-minute scene, though? Like, that is such a trust in your audience, believing they're smarter, which I often think the show doesn't think, you know? And it's like being like, we understand feelings and depth, and we're gonna watch this girl come home for the first time, and that is a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Like, what a lovely trust in your audience.
Okay, but also at the same time, I can't remember. There used to be a number floating around, but somebody like tracked the number of how long we watched people walking in season 7 promos, and I feel like it was like 7 minutes or something. It was really interesting.
That is believable.
It was really funny. I can't lie. That was pretty good. Like, I mean, you have to Hollywood in general. You can't like. It is what it is, dude. That's what we've gotten. That's how it's all gotten. I still appreciate it. I mean, like, this is such a nerd culture thing that, like, no one in their right mind would ever promote a Song of Ice and Fire this big if it wasn't a big moneymaker. So I get that. Like, Game of Thrones is amazing. I mean, watching all of it, like watching Viserion, like, ridden by the Night King, that's some fan service to the extreme, but like at the same time, like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
well, we need some plot forward motion when we watch it. Like, we're much less patient when we're seeing something in front of us. So I get it.
Absolutely.
And I also, like, I have loads of criticism about season 7, and most of it has to do with, like, the speed that
the pacing.
the major emotional moments happened with such speed. And, like, if, like, obviously, as we were talking about, I wrote a record about feelings in A Song of Ice and Fire. So it's like, I really care about people's feelings, and like when I see them get rushed, when it's like, hey, I want you to ship this character now, like these two people now, like, it feels, I don't like it. I don't like to be forced.
And that's really interesting too, because I mean, look at your song Good about Brienne. I mean, that's stuff that they glossed over. Brienne didn't matter for her whole story in the show. And I get that. Right. They have to compress things. I mean, look at how Aegon was cut. Fake Aegon was cut. Arianne was cut. The most important parts of Dorne were completely cut. It's fine. Dorne, it's not racist. So, she said. And I said what I said, okay? I get it, D&D. You don't care about women or about people of not white color. It's fine.
Sure.
So
they don't.
But, you know, you got to compress it and you got to cut what's not important to you, which is brown people or women. And
bro, silver hair only.
Out here. Only. Like, Sir Barristan gets to survive till his shitty death because, I mean, he kind of deserves it. Sir Barristan incel me, as I have some followers call him because he's the worst. And whatever.
Incel me, oh no!
Oh yes. Barristan and Selmy. Dude, all he does is he sits there and he's like, Ashara should have married me and loved me for 700 years because, like, I would have saved your life.
Shit.
But no.
I've never heard Barristan and Selmy, and I'm obsessed with it.
Barristan and Selmy might be my favorite fan creation. I love that. It's so good. So good.
So good.
Wow. Here we are. But no, man, like, it is, like you said, a lot of emotion. I'm really excited because, like, so we're doing the top 10 best and worst moments of season 7. Because I feel like, okay, as far as the show goes, season 5 was a splitting season, as we know. And it wasn't very canonical, as we know. And we know not to take it. We know it was meant to cut a bunch of time in a small, like, season. Like, it was like, let's make all these cuts so we can make 6 and 7 the best. And I get that.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks because there's no like impact of any of the seasons now, and it all sucks, but it's fine. And like 6 and 7, I take the fan service. I take Daenerys touching the sand. I take Sansa with the Knights of the Vale parading around her. Like I take that smoke. I take it all. Whatever. Ramsay, kill him. Sure. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I'm jaded. And they ruined everything already, so I can't be mad. I just love it for what it is. It's garbage, medieval trash, and I love it. But
yeah.
I mean, next season even, we'll still have that garbage, medieval trash, great feeling about it. And we are going to count down what our best and worst moments were. We're going to show some clips. We're going to have some, like, live drunk ASOIAF. If you love this, you're going to love the panel if you come to Ice and Fire Con, because it's just going to be Haley and I just, like, drunk bantering back and forth. It's going to be us IRL doing it, like, in person. People going, you guys are the worst. And we'll go, yeah, we are. So
I'm hoping that we can make up a live drinking game for it in some way. We should figure that out.
You know it's going to be me telling you, like, drink every time Euron doesn't have blue lips.
All the time.
The whole season.
The whole season. The fact that, like, he swaggers in, like, Jack Sparrow and then
in his Hot Topic outfit.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was like, he looks hot, but what?
Pillow, how do you know? Is it
Pilo Asbeck?
Pilou?
I don't know.
Hello?
Pilo? We don't know.
Hello.
We don't know.
I feel really bad. I feel like I should know that.
We should.
Someone correct me. I know someone will, so someone correct me. And if you do, you're a nerd. You just proved that you listened to like an hour and a half of this. So
yeah, really.
Nerd. So, but like Pilou, I feel like it's Pilou, but that makes me think of like Caillou, the bald kid, like Aegon style. Anyways,
yeah,
like Aegon the Unlikely style. That's Caillou. So
yep.
Egg. That's egg. Caillou is egg.
Caillou is egg cannon. The end.
That's it. That's Duncan Egg. That's how Novella's end.
The end. Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be so fun. We're gonna like be drunk. I feel like. Who do you think is? Am I gonna get drunker first? I think I'll get drunker first.
Well, I think it depends what kind of game we play. Should we play a game based on the clips we play, or based on what each other does?
I think
like us in our own bullshit.
Every time Chloe gets mad drink, you'll be bombed. I don't know. I feel like maybe like from crowd comments even, I guess like if someone's like, I think this, and we go, oh yeah, same, and we just get drunk. But I feel like we're gonna like describe like all these fucking like we're gonna describe each episode moment that we're like saying is top 10 or lowest 10.
Yeah.
I think we might end up having like 10 best, 10 worst, because like there's so many clips. You and I are so into
I know. I have a lot that I wrote down that I didn't end up put on our like official list, where I was like, I don't know if this is something we can capture visually, like just a sort of vibe that I didn't like, or a vibe that I did like. Bad mood.
We have to like be we gotta work on this week, but we have to be like very objective here, because you know how the fans are of the show and the books. I mean, come on, this is for the people, not us. But it's for us.
The people. We will be the drunkest, and then we'll go to all the Thursday night parties, and it'll be the best.
Yeah, really cool. So Ice and Fire Con this year, I'm so excited. As we said, it's gonna be big. If you haven't bought a ticket, you have how much days, Haley? How many?
I think it's 21 days until the
21 days till the con. And April 20th is the last day for tickets. If you want to like really pit Haley and I against each other, and you still want to come, you can either use Manimal as a code for 5 off. Manimals. Sorry, don't mean to make it bad. Here, Manimals. You can use Manimals for $5 off your ticket, or you can use TPOMF, which is for the Page of Many Faces, but just pretend it's drunk ASOIAF. And
but hers is a confusing acronym, whereas mine's a word.
Listen, I don't want to fight you right now because we still have to get through this panel. So,
oh Lord. Okay, no, it's gonna be super, super fun, and I think, everyone should go to it. Are you doing what other panels are you doing?
Oh my God. Okay. That's a good thing. I feel like this year I'm actually light on panels. Okay. Friday.
So you're volunteering throughout, like, and doing work, right?
I'm marketing director for Ice and Fire Con, so anytime you see something posted, it might be me. I can't confirm or deny. It's definitely me. And I'm doing the Drunk ASOIAF and Drinking GoT panel Thursday night, which is really fun. Friday, I'm in a couple things. I'm running registration at some point, so I'll be checking people in and hanging out with Dom Tartagalia. He and I always do registration on Fridays together, so that'll be fun. There's a small council meeting if you're interested in just like asking questions or like giving suggestions to the people that create this con and make sure it happens. Come Thursday night before the Drunk ASOIAF Drinking GoT panel and hang out with us. I can't remember the room. I'll post it on some point at the Twitter, but come hang out with us for sure. We'll just like bullshit and talk about things that can make the con better, which is always good. And then Friday, I'm running the Snarks and Grumpkin Hunt. If you haven't ever done it, it's really fun. It is a kind of like Gishwiz, Misha Collins, who does Gishwiz from Supernatural, the guy from Supernatural, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, he runs this like photo scavenger hunt on the internet, and it's like a big thing. I think it benefits stuff. That sounds awful. Lotta, who is great, she's a big ASOIAF community person. She does it every year, and she always posts about it. And I don't follow it often, but we're doing something. We always do something similar. It's a Snarks and Grumpkin Hunt. I run it. You get a list of like photo things to take pictures of. So like, take a picture of something that resembles this, or like take a picture of a flower. Liana was fond of flowers, like that kind of shit. There's like some really fun shit, and there are this year some fun Easter eggs of you find a plushy dragon, you get an extra 5 points, and like you turn it at the end. I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's like a big fun photo hunt, and I get to drink wine while I wait for people to come back and judge them, and I love judging people. Yes. So that's my Friday, and then there's the musical, super secret, top secret, happening that night, as you know.
I've heard that.
There's a musical that night. We're doing there's a Song of Ice and Fire Con musical happening with some people that are volunteers, staff, friends, whatever, joining in. So it's kind of like the only thing happening for an hour and a half, and I suggest you come to it if you're coming. And then after that, I'm running karaoke for an hour. We have karaoke this year.
You're running karaoke?
Yes, the first hour, dog. So I'm going to be up there singing. I already have plans, probably Total Eclipse of the Heart, or like
I'm down.
Hit Me With Your Best Shot. So I'm ready.
Yes, those are good ones.
Yeah, what are your karaoke songs?
I don't know. I really like saying "Kiss Me Deadly" by Lita Ford. Mm-hmm. I like anything Salt and Pepper. I like anything, Salt and Pepper, or like a good.
Oh my God! Yeah. Do you want to do Push It together?
I could do Push It. I'm really good at Shoop.
Oop.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's my favorite. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
It's gonna be so fun. That's Friday.
Yeah. That's Friday, dude. And then Saturday, oh my God, I am doing, the trial. Did you hear about the mock trial?
I did.
There's a mock trial. It sounds like it's going to be Game of Thrones versus Song of Ice and Fire for characters and their gray morality.
So good.
And I hear I have to defend the show, possibly. It's not funny. Fuck you, Haley.
You're going to have so much fun. It's going to be so good.
I'm going to have to find the most bullshit loopholes and be like, but if I was a show watcher watching the show, I'm going to be so mad after that. You know, I'm going to get drunk. Like, I'm just going to be like, let's get drunk.
We're going to have the best Saturday.
I can't wait. And dude, and then Sunday, I know I'm helping with a few things here and there, but otherwise it's like the end of the silent auction, end of like, you know, there's a couple panels that day.
Are you still alive on Sunday? Really?
I'm not answering that publicly, so we'll see. But you know I'm not. Sunday, there's that. The Wolves are there again. So Friday we have the Wolves, and Sunday we have Wolves. There are Wolves at Ice and Fire Con this year.
I'm so excited.
Because I hear the Wolves will come again. And my son, Jojen Reed, told me that. And he's my child.
They'll come again.
But that, and then there's like closing ceremonies, dude. And then they're like, anyone that's staying, if you don't want to go home Sunday, if you're staying an extra day, if you have a room booked, then I'm going home just because I got to work. Bitches got to work, make real money. And if you want me to not work as much, I do have a link that I will post this to a Ko-fi account. If you appreciate anything from Drunk ASOIAF, this is done out of the goodness of my heart. Buy me a drink, send me a couple bucks, and just buy me one drink. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. This is fun for me. This is it. Once a week, I just want to like Dude, get drunk and just talk about A Song of Ice and Fire. That's it.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. But that's it, dude. Like Sunday, then we all go home and we're all really depressed for another year. You know what I mean?
It's true. But the friendships you've made. Yeah.
Like your first year you go to A Song of Ice and Fire cons. Like the first Ice and Fire con you ever go to, you'll be awkward and you'll be like, it was fun. It was so fun. But like after you'll be like, oh, I can't wait till next year. You go back and that's the year. The second year is the year.
Yeah.
So like Haley is about to have that.
I'm so
She's
excited.
about to like, oh, your second year, dude, you're gonna have so much fun. It's like a second year of school. You're just like, these are my buddies, man. We went to A Song of Ice and Fire camp.
Totally, no, bro. Like, I mean, I had a great time year one, but then like as soon as I got home, like everybody wants to like be friends on the internet, like get into each
Family.
other's shit and like be involved in everything. And like there is like I'm in New York and there's a little New York contingent and like all of them have come out to my shows. We've become really good friends. It's been a very cool thing. So I feel like year two is
Jason Alden. Jason Alden comes out to your shows, I know, right?
Jason Alden has come out to so many shows. He's the bomb.
Dude, he's the shit. Jason Alden's one of my really good friends,
Yeah.
and he's a big fan of the podcast, so big plug for Jason Alden. He's always so much fun.
Jason's come out to just like parties at my house.
Dude, he's great. He's like such a like dad friend though. Like he will always take care of you. Like
I know.
Ice and FireCon, he makes these kick-ass Jolly Rancher shot glasses.
Dang.
They're kind of sticky after a couple days, but like they're worth it.
Yeah.
Like you fill it with some vodka and you're like, this tasted great. Like Jason's the best.
Jason
dude.
is someone who at the end of anything I do, he's always like, are you sure you're okay to go home? And I'm like, yeah!
Right. What a dad friend.
What a dad friend. But one of the last big events he came to was a show where I made an incredible Jello shot that was like a tiki drink. And he was like, you must make these for Ice and FireCon. So I think that's going to be one of the goals.
Oh, that's like a super Stannis Melisandre drink.
Yeah, it's a tiki thing. It's a good one. We'll see.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm very stoked for my second year. Bringing my boyfriend for his first time. We're all gonna hang out again. It's gonna be very good.
I can't wait for that. It's gonna be fun. My significant other will be there.
Yeah.
And I will be there, and you and yours, and all of our fam, dude. This is a Thursday. If you're going to Ice and FireCon, if you haven't heard about it, I hope I'm not the first time you're hearing of it, but an unofficial fan party that happens every Thursday, an unofficial party that attendees throw at Ice and FireCon. It's the Thirst of the First Men, so the Fist of the Thirst Men. It is House Skellington hosts this party. It's a bunch of friends of ours. They love Skelly tequila, Skelly vodka, whatever you want with the skeleton bottles. Bring whatever you want. Bring your own booze. But there's a cabin that will be having a party the Thursday night, day 0 of the con. And it'll be right after the Drunk ASOIAF Drinking GoT panel. So
Yeah. So
It'll
yeah,
be a blast.
so it's like even if you have gotten your ticket already and you're like, I want to go, and you're like, oh well, programming pretty much starts on Friday. Be aware that a bunch of cool stuff also happens on Thursday.
yeah,
it's gonna be good.
And Thursday's free. I mean, like
Yeah.
badges aren't going to be checked. If you go into this panel, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally normal. People can just wander into this panel. It'll be fun. It'll be a blast. I know sometimes, people cut out Thursdays because of cost, and I get that because I'm so broke. But life's hard. Oh, yeah. And if you are able to take that night off and you can get like a room spot or you can book a room that night, whatever, there are still rooms left for now. Soon, though, they'll be gone. Literally, you have like April 20th, 15 days from now is when tickets are done. So you have 15 days to decide if you're going to come to the best thing in the whole world or not. I mean,
The best.
dude, it's so fun. I can't wait. The House Skelly. So like my big dream about the House Skellington party this year, which one of my favorite things is every time you finish a House Skellington bottle of tequila now at the party, every time you finish it, because like you walk in, they're just like, you want a shot of Skelly tequila? And you're like, yeah, okay. And that's where your night goes horrible. Don't do it.
You do it, but do it.
It ruins your life, but you should do it. And but they hint, whenever you empty a bottle of Skelly, I came up with it last year. Someone was like, we just ran out of Skelly, and I just yelled, and now his watch has ended. And everybody just like threw up, and now his watch has ended. And that was House Skelly right there, man. So
good.
Come to the House Skellington party. You'll find it. Like, ask around. Be like, you know about the House Skellington?
Just follow everyone after me and Chloe's panel, because I think only people who want to party are going to be at that
panel. Please. Yeah. Please come to our panel.
It's going to be fun.
Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Man. Haley, holy shit. Tell me about all the stuff you're involved with right now, your projects, your next shows with the Manimals. Tell me about some stuff.
Okay, all right. So the Manimals right now we're recording. So that is the whole thing. Like, we're not doing a ton of shows right now. Our next thing, actually, I think, is we do a spring fling every year that, like, is a 90s prom, and it's happening on June 2nd at Hank's Saloon in Brooklyn, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. My band pretty much cosplays as 90s No Doubt, and that's what happens. But it's a lot of fun. There's like a crowning of a prom king and queen. There's a bunch of dumb shit. People do a hacky sack contest. Everyone's playing covers. It's very fun. But then I end up DJing at the end of the night a bunch of really ridiculous 90s hip hop.
Third Eye Blind songs?
Sometimes Third Eye Blind. Sometimes I'm just like, as my friends slowly regress into high school mode, I'm like, come on, ride the train and ride it, you know. Like, something like that. That's great. So, like, that's what's going on. That's in June. Otherwise, we are recording. We're doing a new record. This is also a concept album, because why make an album unless it has a concept?
Yeah, I love that about you.
It's like, what, like, people like just listen to singles now, so it's like, why not just like make a record that means something to you? That
give it a reason.
Yeah, so it's like what we're doing. It is a record called Multiverse. You can find us on manimals.band, and we have a Patreon campaign going on right now that is sort of like it's going to sort of eventually become an art-making sort of community. Like, I want to sort of create the story that goes around Multiverse. It's about traveling through different universes. And it's sort of like a love story, falling in love with yourself. It is a bunch of fantasy sci-fi and a bunch of different tropes that kind of like get to play themselves out through each song, like in the way that Seven is point of view, etc. Like this is we get to have like a vampire story, we get to have a superhero story, we get to have a zombie apocalypse story, and it's about like finding your way to yourself. And I think the story is going to become more clear as it goes along, and that's what we're working on right now. So that's in process. But yeah, Manimals.band, we've got a Bandcamp page where you can see our previous stuff, which is manimalsnyc.bandcamp.com, which is like probably the easiest place to buy our music, although you can also do like the Spotify route, the iTunes route, whatever you want to do. But yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I'm so excited. I will admit I pay some money monthly, not much, but
I love you.
I love you too. I wish I could pay more, dude. If you have money, fucking throw it at them. Holy shit.
You're the best.
They deserve it.
Thank
You're the best. Whatever, dude. Manimals do this, and like, yeah, obviously they like operate off of the same artistry that everyone else operates off. They hope people give a shit, but like, they deserve it, man. They are, they're working. You guys are working. You put out a Game of Thrones concept album. You guys are working.
Thank you. I love you. You're the person, like, we wrote it for, so, like, that means a lot. You know?
Sounds ridiculous, but, like, honestly, that album was really important to me, man. Seven was so important to me. So, like, if you are listening to this and you're still along, please listen to Seven. I will link it, like, a lot after this and during this. I'm already linking it. I have people I'm like sending it to right now that I'm like, why have you still not listened to this? You can listen to it. You can listen to Seven for free on Bandcamp, and then you can give money after if you want. And like, you should. I gave money. You should, dude. They deserve it. Their other shit. I don't pay for Patreon usually. I don't support people because I'm an awful person.
We're all artist people, and it's hard. I get it.
Exactly. Dude, life's hard when you're starving.
Yeah.
And I starve all the time, and I send $1 a month to Haley and the rest of the Manimals. They are goddamn Manimals, my friends. And these Manimals, I send them money, though, monthly, because, like, $1 a month, that's enough. I spend it on stupid shit like booze, obviously, to do this podcast. So
Truth,
like
yeah.
Haley and the Manimals, like I would give them more money if I was about it, but you really should, you guys. You guys need to listen to this fucking album. It's like if you're an ASOIAF fan, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, it's a fun album, whether you like are into the lore or not. It's really good. Emotionally, you'll connect, my friends. You will.
You are the best. I love you.
You're the best. I love you. Shit. Haley, this was so much fun.
So much
I can't
fun.
wait. I can't wait to do a fucking panel with you. We're going to record the panel too. We're going to post it on Drunk ASOIAF. It'll be up. It'll be on the internet. So like,
Yeah.
if you can't come to Ice and Fire Con this year, I forgive you, I guess.
But come.
We will
come
post
anyway.
it eventually.
Yes, we're going to have a good time. It's going to be so much fun.
I can't wait.
I'm thrilled.
Haley, thank you so much for coming on with us. I will leave links for Haley and the Manimals below. She is amazing. Please come to Ice and Fire Con, check us out this year, and have fun with us at Drunk ASOIAF and Drinking GoT's panel.
Woo.
So ridiculous. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I love to talk to you, and I'm happy to communicate with all those out in the fandom because
The good people.
It's dope, yeah.
They're trying to make good
Yeah, if you're listening here, I know you're trying to make good.
on their promises.
Yeah, exactly.